Okay, let me start that over. Welcome to the bootcamp call, bootcamp number one, first quarter 2020. Very excited to be here. Eric Johnson here, along with Mike Lopez.
Hello.
And we're excited to be with you guys and lead you through the next 12 weeks. This process is going to be, it's going to be awesome. Not just for what you'll achieve, but for who you'll become. Because we're going to put you in an environment that'll give you an opportunity to really start to blossom into the leader that you're born to be. Does that make sense? Couple of things, just quick as far as housekeeping and things like that. For those of you who haven't done boot camp before, obviously hopefully you have figured out by now that we do all our communicating through the Facebook group. So make sure that you've got that Facebook group added to your favorites. Yeah, it might be annoying when everybody starts commenting on the daily posts and you see that in your feed all day long, but that's kind of what we want. We kind of want to be annoying because we want to make sure that you don't forget to invest in your business today and get your power hour done. Does that make sense? So make sure that you're in that group. For those of you who are kind of getting caught up, I know we had people join the group today. Maybe you're on this call live. Maybe you are watching this on replay. The easiest way to catch up is to go click on announcements inside the Facebook group. Everything that Mike and I want you to see is going to be tagged as an announcement. So you can just click on announcements and go through, in reverse order and make sure you've got everything done. All of Mike's helpful tips are in there too. So definitely go to announcements and you can get caught up at any point in boot camp. If you feel like you don't know where to start because everybody's posting in there, just hit announcements and you'll see the post that you need to do. Also, today's post will always be tagged pinned to the top, I think is what it calls, right? Pinned to the top of the group. Okay. Also, if you don't have a success partner or partners yet, don't worry. There's still plenty of time. What we recommend, and Mike did a post on this the other day, is rather than just putting a post saying, help me, I'm lonely and need a success partner. What I would do is go into the group and hit photos, because everybody put a photo up with their bio, right? And start scrolling through the photos and look for ones that don't say partnered at the top. And if you see somebody that's not partnered, then message them and see if they want to be a partner. By the way, if you haven't added partnered to your original post, you need to edit and do that if you already have a partner so that you don't start getting those PMs. Make sense? Okay. Okay, cool. So today I want to talk to you. I have a few points that I want to give you today about getting the most out of boot camp. I know Mike has some thoughts on this too, but there is one thing that I want to talk about just for a minute before we even get started, because I know we've got so many people who are new to Teamzy, new to the Teamzy approach to doing business. Some of you found Teamzy in the last couple of weeks and you're like, wow, this is a great tool to help me be productive. Anybody like that? So Teamzy is a great productivity tool, but I want you guys to understand there is a philosophy behind this. And by the end of boot camp, you're going to be really good at this. You're going to understand this. I guess it was about a year ago, Mike, that I did that rant in the Teamzy community.
Yes. Well, it takes.
So there was a conversation happening in the Teamzy community, and I felt like there were people that just didn't get it. And I did this rant, and it was titled, if you want to look up the video in there, why your heart needs to be in the right place for this to work. Okay, some of you have seen that video. It was just a response to a thread that was happening, and I was like, okay, I got to nip this in the bud. And so this isn't a new thing. So I just want to talk about this for a second, because some of you know our background. Mike and I come from the background of being business coaches and business consultants. We worked a lot with real estate people over the years before we got into direct sales. And I'll never forget this real estate agent that I worked with in the Midwest. His name was Mark. Mike knows this story. Mark was a top producer. He sold over 100 homes a year. But he was getting burnt out, and he wanted to learn how to build a business based on relationships, which just happens to be our specialty, right? So we taught him. We taught him how to stay in touch with people and how to nurture relationships, how to communicate with people, how to celebrate them, how to reward the right behaviors, like introducing them to their friends and family, things like this. And I'll never forget, Mark was a pretty hardcore, aggressive kind of pound the pavement kind of guy. I remember one time on a coaching call with Mark, he was so frustrated. He was practically yelling at me over the phone. And he said, I just don't understand it, Eric. Now imagine lots of expletives. I'll save you that. He goes, I'm doing every friggin' thing you're telling me to do, and these people are not bringing me any more business. And I was like, Mark, I think we need to talk about where your heart is. See, if you're applying the system and the things we teach you just to create a sale or just to create a commission check, there's going to be a disconnect. Your heart needs to be in the right place for this system. This system works, and I'm going to talk to you about this in a minute, 100% of the time, but your heart needs to be in the right place. You need to prioritize people over transactions. The people you're serving are more important than closing the sale. Your friends and your family in these relationships, long lost relationships in some cases, right? Because we're reaching out to people we haven't talked to in ages. The ability that you're going to have, the opportunity to help these people is way more important than whether or not they join your team or whether or not they purchase your package this month. As soon as you can release that need, this system will start to take off for you. Does that make sense? It's kind of like dating, right? How many of you have been asked out by somebody that's clearly desperate? Do you find them very attractive? Of course not. So I want you guys to be in the right place and understand. And look, some of you, this might not be you. I think it is everyone in our group though. But I want you just to kind of like affirm for yourself, I'm here to help people first and foremost, right? I'm here to help people. And when I help people, I get to earn a great income. Does that make sense? And so as we teach you guys this, and as you approach this, you can't be attached to the outcome of every single conversation. What I want you guys to know is as you work this system and as you engage and create conversations and literally spread the love, you create energy that brings success into your business. Okay? Some of you are like, oh my gosh, Eric, I contacted 20 people this week and nobody has been interested yet. This isn't working. You just got to keep going. And others of you, like I talked to just on a little Facebook message, Megan, who literally discovered Teamsy like 6 days ago and joined Bootcamp after we closed registration. We had to finagle to get her in. She's like, I did my first Teamsy Power Hour and I've already got 2 people that I'm talking to about being customers. I can't believe it. This is unbelievable. So like the results will vary a little bit, right? It just depends. But I want you guys to understand, like you can't be attached to the result of every single conversation. All right. So that brings me to my point. So if your heart's in the right place and you feel like you're in the right place, then this system is going to be awesome for you. At the same time, even though we're focused on helping people, you still need to be fearless about asking people if they'd like to learn more about what you're doing. You still need to be fearless about asking for the sale when people tell you they're interested. I've seen people have conversation over and over and over with someone who's interested and never just say, are you ready to start? And they're wondering, why aren't we started yet? Okay. So we'll work with that on you guys too. But here's my points. Number 1, follow the system. Just follow the system. We're going to be teaching it to you. And yeah, it's kind of granular because I want you to master each thing. So, this week we're just talking about, hey, here's how to do a power hour. And some of you are going, okay, but I can see where this is going. What's the next step? Okay, don't worry. We're going to get there next week. Okay. So this week we're doing power hours. We're just getting you guys reaching out to make people's day. It's fun, right? It's fun. Okay. Just trust the system. We're going to take you through it. You're going to be masters at the end of this. Okay. Understand that this system is not something that we just made up and we're trying out on you guys. Okay. This has been applied by thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Before we get into direct sales, tens of thousands of real estate agents and small business owners that we've worked with over the years. This is the system that they have followed, all different personalities, all different levels of education, immigrants, natives, everybody, different age groups. It doesn't matter. Guess why? Because we're all working with people. Does this make sense? So trust the system. It's tried and tested. And there's going to be times where you're thinking, oh my gosh, does this really work? Because you're not able to see the visible results yet of your actions. Does anybody come from a farming background? Anybody? A couple people? Yeah. I mean, can you imagine a farmer planting seed and then wondering if the seeds are germinating? Right? Oh my gosh, I don't know if they're germinating. I have to wait how long to know? Right? So you have to trust the system. It works. Okay. So sometimes you're going to question it, and I want you just to ask yourself this question: could it be that I'm just overthinking this right now? Could it be just that I'm just overthinking this right now? How many of you guys suffer from overthinking? Me too. So just trust the system. Just do the actions. Okay. Just connect. Make people's day. Create that energy. Follow the system. Number 2 is trust the system because the system works. Okay. So they kind of lead into each other. First one, follow the system. Number 2, trust the system because the system works. And what do I mean by this? Just be coachable. Be coachable. Okay. How many of you guys are fairly new? Like you're starting at the ground zero and you want to build a business? Okay, great. How many of you would say you have a pretty established business? Awesome. I won't ask you who's super successful because they're usually in this group too humble to raise their hand. They just raised it for the last group. We've got people on here that are well beyond 6 figures. We've got people on here that are hoping to make their first check. And that's okay because we're all going to be doing the same things. But here's what I want you guys to know. The most successful people in this group typically are the most coachable people. Okay, so just be open to that. Okay. And again, my job's not to convince you guys that this works. It's just to help you apply it in your business. Okay. All right. And number three point, I want you to make sure you write this one down. Even if you're not taking notes up till now, write this one down. Number 3, forget perfect. Forget perfect. And that goes for you guys that are on your 5th and 6th boot camp. You're like, this time I'm going to be perfect. Forget perfect. Okay. A good buddy of mine who I met through the Juice Plus company, some of you guys probably know him. His name's Garrett Soldano. He has this 1% better philosophy, 1% better every day, right? And if you're 1% better every day, how much better are you by the end of the year? I love that. I know he didn't invent it, but he lives by that. Pretty cool, right? So don't try to be perfect. Let's just try to get a little bit better each day. Okay. Some of you guys how many of you have done it's Friday. How many of you have done at least 4 power hours this week? Do you feel like you did better today than maybe you did 4 days ago? It's getting more natural. Okay. So forget perfect. We're going to get better as we go. Okay. And the number 4 thing, really, really, really important. I already did a live video about this a little bit. I don't know if you guys caught that. It's in our group. Don't quit. Number 4, don't quit. Okay. 12 weeks is a long time. And we like 12 weeks because, businesses plan things in 12-week increments, right? Quarters. And we like 12 weeks too, because statistically, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but statistically, something happens to us every 12 weeks that kind of rocks our world a little bit. Sometimes it can be huge challenges. Sometimes it can be small things. It could be happy things. You could have a child graduating from college and you get so caught up in it that you take a week or 2 off from the business and it's hard getting back into it, right? You could have something dramatic happen to you. And I know a couple of you guys, I'm looking at your faces. I know your stories. I know what you've been through, and you're back here in boot camp because that happened. But here's what I want you guys to know. Things will happen over the next 12 weeks. Don't quit. That's why we're going to be here. We expect you to fall off the wagon over the next 12 weeks, and we still want to be here to help you get back on it. We don't want you to fall off the wagon permanently. You fall off your business for a week, fine. Some of you have vacations planned. Great. Cool. Okay. It's great. Vacation's great because it's really easy to connect with everybody when you get back. You tell them about your vacation, right? You can get back on. So just understand that we understand that you're going to fall backwards a little bit. We're here to help you and support you. Those little posts are going to happen in your Facebook feed all day. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I got to get in there. So one thing I want to say about quitting is this, is if you ever do fall behind, guys, you don't have to catch up. You just need to do today's work. Okay. Don't worry about catching up. Just do today's work. Just get back into today's work. If you guys fell off the wagon for 2 weeks from your exercise program, how many of you would go do 14 workouts the first day you got back in the gym? Would anybody do that? That doesn't make sense, right? You just go do 1 workout. So the same thing, you just turn it on, do the power hour in front of you. Okay. How many of you want to have a big business, huge business? Okay. To get a huge business, your focus must be small. Okay. That's why we built Teamsy this way. You put in your annual goal. We tell you what to do today. Okay. But consistency is key. And if we can get you doing 30, 40 minutes a day in Teamsy all the way through, this next 12 weeks, you're going to be in a good position. Does that make sense? Okay. One more housekeeping thing I want to say, because I want to hear, I know Mike has some things he wants to share with you too. Of course, when Mike and I are done kind of doing our little talk, we're going to do Q&A, and you can ask us anything related to what we're talking about or anything at all. It doesn't matter. But one thing that we have found is that there's been a big need for us to beef up week 2, where we talk about transitioning the conversation. Okay. So we just added a new training video into the boot camp. So there's actually 2 training videos next week. There's how to transition, and then there's another video that's specifically on, okay, now that you've transitioned it, how do you actually get to the share? And so we've done some training on that. So one thing you guys will all need to do is you will need to re-download your workbook. Okay, you're going to need to re-download your workbook on Monday, because that's the workbook pages for that training number 2 aren't in the one that you downloaded last week. That's how fresh it is. Okay, I don't even know if it's uploaded yet. So on Monday, when you go to do it, re-download the workbook so that you get the part 2 video training pages. Are you guys with me? And let your success partners know if they're not on this call to do that. Okay. I think you guys will find the trainings next week to be pretty pivotal in everything that we're going to do over the next couple months. Okay. All right. Well, now I'd like to introduce Mr. Mike Lopez. A lot of you guys know him, and I know he's been super active in the group this week, helping you guys out with some tips and things. You just need to know, I know a lot of times people feel they know me because they've seen me do so many training videos. Mike is not only one of my best friends, my brother from another mother. He and I have worked together now 19 years.
Yep.
Holy moly, 19 years. And for many years, Mike was my boss and mentor. And when I had this really, what I thought was kind of a crazy idea to start Teamsy, I shared it with him and he said, I want in. That's how I knew I had a good idea. So Mike is here. And one of the things that Mike is an absolute expert in is building leaders. And so I knew that I couldn't do any sort of boot camp training without him, because he brings to the table that sort of insight. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Mr. Mike Lopez.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate the introduction, and it's a true honor to be here with everyone. And we're here to serve and to help with anything we can do during these 12 weeks. What I love about boot camps, Eric kind of touched on it, is that we have a wide variety of people in boot camp. People that are just getting started in their business, people that have been working their business a very long time. But what I love about it too is that we all have unrealized potential. All of you wrote BHAGs or goals at the beginning of boot camp for prep week that you haven't achieved yet. So regardless of what level of success you've achieved or what level of success you hope to achieve, we still have a lot of potential, every one of us. So I love that fact. And so we're all the same in that regard. Regardless of wherever you are, we all have unrealized potential. The other thing I get excited about boot camp. This is our 9th boot camp. And the biggest transformations that we see and that I see and that I experienced by working with you through these 12 weeks is a change in mindset. Sometimes you have to unlearn stuff to learn new stuff. Sometimes you're going to learn new stuff and have ahas. But I would submit to you that at the end of 12 weeks, the biggest changes, the biggest shifts you're going to have, the biggest transformation you're going to have is going to be the transformation of your mind, transformation of how you think, what you believe is possible, and most importantly, how to achieve what you believe is possible. What is it going to take to make that happen? So I get fired up about that. I love that, and I love seeing that in you. So that's why personal growth and development. That's why working on yourself is as important as working on the systems in your business. If you grow your business, don't grow yourself, guess what's going to happen? It's not going to last. So those are important dynamics. I usually talk about 2 things at the first call of boot camp. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I talk about the three keys to success. I am going to talk about those things. I usually talk about sales a little bit. I'm gonna do a live, not next week because you have a lot to chew on next week with the transitioning the conversation to a share. But the week after next, I'm going to do a live in the group about sales, my perspective on sales and why sales is important to you. So I'm not going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to talk about something else. But let's get to the 3 keys to success in boot camp. So as Eric mentioned, we've worked together for 19 years. I'm entering my 20th year involved in the coaching and consulting dynamic, executive leadership and leadership development. And these 3 things, it's a 3 key success for you in boot camp. But across the board, these are things that I've seen, regardless of whether it's somebody that cleans up the office or somebody who's sitting in the CEO office. The three things that I see most commonly, regardless of, again, dynamic or demographic or job responsibility, the things that you need to do. So the first thing is to increase your confidence. To have a successful boot camp, you need to increase your confidence. Wherever you are with your confidence right now, if I'm going to ask you this question, based on your understanding of relationship marketing, based on what you understand about Teamsy, whether you've used Teamsy for 2 years or 2 days, I'm going to ask you to rate yourself right now, a 1 to 10 on your confidence. Where's your confidence right now with regards to relationship marketing and Teamsy and implementing the system in your business? If it's a 5, awesome. If it's a 7, awesome. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just give yourself a rating and write it down for yourself. We're going to revisit this as we go in call number 2 and 3. So increase your confidence is super important. What are the things that you need to do to have confidence, increase your confidence? Is to take action, is to do things, is to follow a system. All the things that Eric talked about previously. If you do these things, you're going to build confidence. Already, some of your confidence has already been built. It's like, wow, I could do this. I can connect with people and they respond. Some don't respond. It's okay. That's not the end of the world. So I'm going to give you a quote on confidence. Confidence isn't thinking you are better than everyone else. It's realizing that you have no reason to compare yourself to anyone else. Why do we sometimes have and that's Miriam Hasna. Why do sometimes we have a lack of confidence? Because we're going, oh, I'm not like so-and-so. I'm not like so-and-so. I'm not as good as so-and-so, or I'm not as good as somebody thinks I should be. And reality is that confidence isn't thinking you're better than everyone else. It is realizing that you have no reason to compare yourself to anyone else. That's confidence, okay? You have no reason to compare yourself to anyone else. And if you are on your path, if you're focused on the potential that you have in front of you, the opportunities you have, that's the way to increase your confidence, okay? The second key is to reduce your fear. Now, Eric and I have had a lot of discussions about this, because here's the real dynamic is reducing the impact fear has on you. So it's been said that courage is taking action in the midst of fear, right? It's not a matter of like eliminating fear. That's why I say reduce fear, increase confidence and reduce fear. So it isn't that you're going to eliminate fear completely, or that you don't let fear hold you back from taking action. You don't let the impact of fear keep you from stepping out and stepping outside of your comfort zone, of reaching out to that person that's like, I'm not sure what's going on or what the situation is, but here's I'm just going to go. I'm just going to spread some love. I'm going to make their day. I'm going to do my best. So reduce your fear. So right now, if you were to give yourself a 1 through 10 on where you believe you are from a fear standpoint of implementing the system, of connecting, of reaching out to people, of reaching out to a 2-star, somebody you haven't talked to for a while who's a little bit colder, give yourself a grade on that, a rating, 1 to 10. Just give yourself a number. Gut instinct, don't overthink it. And we're going to get to overthinking next. So increase your confidence, reduce your fear. Number 3 is to eliminate overthinking. Eric already touched on this a little bit, but here's the thing I've seen more than anything, even more than fear and lack of confidence, is overthinking. The things that paralyze us, that keep us from moving forward, is overthinking it, is trying to go, well, it's not perfect yet, or it's not. How many recovering perfectionists do we have in the room? I'm raising my hand right now. Okay. Right. Perfection in the sense that we believe it doesn't really exist, in a sense of that, where there's no flaws and nothing is wrong. So don't let overthinking keep you from taking action. Don't let overthinking keep you from doing your power hour, or from reaching out to that one person, or from sending the script. Or here's the other thing we see. People tweak the scripts. And again, Eric says, like, the scripts work, just trust them, just go, and then develop from there. It doesn't sound like me. Okay, make a tweak. But we've seen people overthink and make tweaks to the scripts to where they don't even have any resemblance, and they don't accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, just to make a connection. So that's one area. But overall, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Press send, press text, send that message. And looking at the systems that we're teaching you, just again, trust it and go for it. But eliminate overthinking. If you were to grade yourself 1 to 10 on overthinking, what would you give yourself right now? 1 to 10. What number would you give yourself in regards to overthinking? Okay. A couple of other, Eric touched on some housekeeping, a couple of things before I get into the next thing that I've never shared this in its entirety, the things I'm going to share today about next, but a couple of bootcamp housekeeping things. Focus on consistency over perfection. He talked about this, but I want to point out, especially this week, some of you are not marking done on the daily post because you didn't get 100%. And I put a post up earlier, is like, focus on as much as you can do. Some of you aren't ready to do shares. And here's what I'm going to tell you is doing a cold share is worse than not doing a share at all. Inviting somebody that you've never connected with, or that you don't have any rapport with, I'd rather you not do the share and have that percentage, not logged. So you're done when you can do as much as you can do based on what's in front of you, what's the knowledge you have, the skills you have. So if you're at that point, you go like, I'm at 80% and I'm not done. Well, you are, because so mark done. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So do as much as you can. And if you're done for the day, then mark done. Don't feel like, oh, I'm not going to mark done because I didn't get 100%. Some of you shouldn't be have 100% because you're brand new. You shouldn't be doing shares based on how we teach about shares.
Right.
Doing cold shares like other people teach, you're probably doing some of those. And again, we'll help you with that next week. So don't freak out about that. But my point in this is that if you're done, you're done. That's fine. And the other thing is to run your race. Some of you have already figured out, and we'll post the criteria. Some of you already figured out. Some of you are going to figure out right now. As soon as I say this, you go, oh my gosh, there's a way to earn flames and double flames by doing your activities on the team report. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. Some of you are super competitive, and you're going to compete with yourself. You're going to compete with your partner, your success partners. But again, run your race. Don't get overwhelmed by that. I just gave you a comparison. I just gave you a quote on confidence and not comparing yourself to other people, right? So you're going to figure out what flames are. That's fine. If you're wired like that, go for it. If you're not, do your best. Do what you're focused on doing. Do what your goals say to do. And consistency is more important than quantity. Over time, especially over 12 weeks, consistency is way more important than quantity. So understand that, and we'll post that so you know at least how the flames work and what it takes to get flames. And also I'll post the quote. Somebody's asking about the quote. I'll post the quote as one of my daily posts here coming up. Okay, so the quote about confidence. So I'm a guy who focuses on being positive and focuses on the things that we need to do to make things work. But I actually came up with these. I'm going to give you the 5 reasons Teamsy won't work for you. Okay. And it isn't because I'm looking at the negative. It's because we've had so many conversations over the years since we launched Teamsy, about people that tell us or say, hey, it didn't work for me. Or, but here's what I mean. Categorically, Teamsy is not for everybody, right? The relationship marketing and this whole mindset of what we teach, it's not for everybody. But Eric made a statement earlier, is that it always works. It does work. It always works if you work it. And I'm going to share with you the 5 reasons why it won't work. And here's the flip side: is obviously the goal is to do the opposite of what I'm going to share. But when it comes to the mindset of the conversation we've had over the years, if people go, it didn't work for me. These are the kind of the things that, as we probe to ask questions, these are the reasons why. And you can either relate or go, yes, not totally, not me, perfect. Then we're in good shape. And by the way, number 1, you all raised your hand, invested $297 to be here. So you're already way ahead of the curve in game of being in the game to make a difference in your life and your business and in your team. And number 2, you're live on this call. Doesn't mean, by the way, if you're watching this call, this is not shade on you, the fact that you didn't come live. We know there's reasons that you're not here, but you're here, you're live. So some of these relate to you, but no matter what, you're going to be able to take a piece of something I'm going to share with you. So the 5 reasons TeamZ won't work for you. Number 1, you don't like people. Now, that sounds funny. And I'm not talking about people who are shy or introverted. By the way, we always have shy or introverted people. And the reality is TeamZ relationship marketing is a perfect system for you if you're an introvert. Okay. We have introverts in our group every time. They're so introverted they don't post a bio and a goals thing, right? They're in the group and they haven't posted, or some people don't never join the group. That's all good. That's all good. So I'm not talking about shy or introvert. I'm talking about you don't like people. And again, that's the majority of you in the room is not. And Eric talked about a client that he coached in the past. But here's the reality on the flip side of that is relationships take work and focus, right? Can we agree on that true relationships, whether it's a spouse or partner or loved one or a kid, or they take work and focus. So you have to like people, right? To make this the core of what you do for your business and the model that you're going to use, which is the best model that we've seen, that because here's the thing, real relationships last, right? If you build a real relationship, whether it's somebody you're going to impact by selling them the product that's going to help them become a better version of themselves, hallelujah, that's what it's all about. But you have to like people. You have to like the fact that you're going to get up, and even if you're an introvert, that you're going to make somebody's day, that you're going to find out what their needs and wants are. You're going to find out where their pain points are, and you're going to find a way to help them solve those. So you have to like people. So if you don't like people, this isn't going to work. But the flip side of that is understanding that this is not easy. This is not for the faint of heart. This is fun, and it's the best way to do it. But building business, no matter how you do it, is hard work. And relationships take work and focus. So my encouragement to you is understand that this system is awesome. Relationship marketing is the best way to go, but it doesn't just happen. You have to like people and engage people. The second reason why TeamZ won't work is you treat your opportunity as a hobby and not a business. Okay, you treat your opportunity as a hobby, not a business. And the statement I make in this is your goals and vision are all business. Yeah, well, what you want, your vision, it's all business, but your commitment, focus, and consistency are all hobby. Does that make sense? And again, this isn't any type of guilt thing. It's a more about what does it take to be a business owner. Some of you still haven't made the shift that you're a business owner. Maybe you're not treating it like a hobby, but you need to understand that you're a business owner. And business owners, entrepreneurs, have a way of thinking and have a way of making things happen. And following systems is one of them. And being consistent is another one, right? The key to success, period, no matter what, whether you're trying to lose weight or whether you're trying to build business, is consistency. So I'm encouraging you, think of yourself as a business owner. Think of yourself as somebody who has a mission, is different business than other things. But this is what you've chosen. I say you treat your opportunities. You have an opportunity. You've raised your hand. Nobody's given it to you. Maybe companies opened up the doors and said, yeah, here, we'll make it easy. That's awesome. Now, what are you going to do with it? You're going to treat it like a business, or you're going to treat it like a hobby? So that's the second reason why TeamZ won't work for you. The third reason is, and we see this so much, is you're looking for a magic bullet, right? Like we just talked about, relationships take work, but in general, the business of network marketing, direct sales, MLM, however you want to describe it, has a tendency to draw on people. And again, you've already had another level of commitment. So but I'm speaking generally here. It has a tendency to bring people who are looking for the magic bullet, or looking for, how do I make a lot of money fast? How do I do what she did? How do I do what he did? And have it happen overnight. And reality is, again, relationship marketing is awesome. It's the best way to go. When I talk to you about sales in a couple of weeks, you're going to have some ahas about sales and what your perspective is on sales. But reality is this: it's not a magic bullet. It takes work. It takes focus. Building any kind of business that's going to last, any kind of business that is meaningful, it takes work, takes focus. Not a magic bullet, not overnight. And but take it to the bank that it works. Take it to the bank that it works. If you work the system, you trust the system. The fourth reason teams you won't work, and this is outside of teams, this is not going to work no matter what, is you don't really believe in your product. You don't really believe in what you're selling. Okay. You're not a product of the product, or again, it's not a matter of hanging up the Zoom call and go, I'm going to go find another product because I don't believe in this product. No, you probably do believe it, but you haven't trusted yourself that you truly believe it. Like, do you really believe it enough that you have a conversation with a friend to tell them that this is the best thing that they could do for themselves, right? Do you believe it enough to share it passionately, share it without reservation, share it trusting that even if somebody Googles and finds the goofiest thing about your company on the internet, that you know that for yourself and for your experience and for the people you've helped, that it works, that it's true, that's meaningful, that it can bless somebody, that can help somebody, that can change somebody's life. Do you believe it like that? Right? So it isn't about, I don't believe in the product. It's, do you believe it in the product like that? Do you believe in your product like everybody should use this? Doesn't mean you share uncontrollably or unfocused. No, but do you believe that everybody should have the product that you have for reasons that based on once you find out what their needs are? Okay. So you don't really believe in your product. That's why it's not going to work for you. The last one, and probably the most important one, is you don't believe in yourself. And I'm going to put ... enough. Okay. If you didn't believe in yourself, you wouldn't be on this call. You wouldn't have paid $297. You wouldn't have signed up. So, but you don't believe in yourself enough to where you go like, what? I am worthy of the vision that I've created I'm worthy of the BHAG that I wrote down. I'm worthy of the goals that I've written down. I'm worthy of have the life that I've been called to have, that I've been created to have, that I have the potential to have, right? You all believe in yourself. I believe in myself, but here's what I can tell you is I can believe myself more than I do today. And what's it going to take for that to happen? Again, trusting in something that works, trusting in relationships, trusting in the opportunity that's in front of you, and maximizing that to as much as you can. Take as much as you can, connect with as much as you can, sow into people as much as you can, receive from them, and have that be motivation for you. And then there's going to be people who let you down, right? Some of us have struggle with not liking people because there's people who have let us down. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on who's there, right? Who's there. So how do you believe in yourself? And what's it going to take? That's why, again, personal growth and development, if you don't grow yourself, even if you grow your business tremendously, it's not going to last because you're going to find a way to have it go away, okay? Grow yourself, believe in yourself, trust yourself, and know that what you do matters. What you do, it's just a product. It's just this. Come on now. What is it? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to the people that you've helped? And some of you going, I haven't helped anybody yet. Yeah, but you know people who have. Borrow their stories, borrow their belief, borrow their faith in what's gone on, and make it happen. Okay. So this isn't about the reasons what it doesn't work. You don't like people. You treat your opportunity as a hobby, not a business. You're looking for the magic bullet. You don't really believe in your product. You don't really believe in yourself enough. This is about the opposite of all that. Okay. And that's what we're going to do for these 12 weeks. And that's what we're here to do. Is we're here to cheer you on and help you, and to help you focus. But it takes your participation, and it takes your belief, and it takes your faith and your trust. And more than anything else, above all that, it takes action. Because having all that without the action and moving forward and doing your activities, even when you stumble, even when you forget, even when you get off track, it works. It'll work for you. If this is how you want to build your business, a business that lasts, a business that's not going to be gone in 6 months because you had a blitz of activity and a blitz of sales, and you did those sales in a way that wasn't congruent with who you are. This is not how that works. Okay. This is not how that works. This works long-term, slowly building, but it lasts because you're building relationships that are going to last for a long time. And you're doing it with a heart to serve, a heart to help, and a heart to help somebody be a better version of themselves than they are today. So.
Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I got pages of notes. Such good stuff, Mike. Okay, there's a couple things that shot out to me, so I just have to talk about them for a second, and then we'll do some Q&A. But how many of you guys up until now have had goals that were all business, but had actual activities that were more like hobby? It's okay. Okay, good. Were you guys convicted by that? We need to actually put the rubber to the road and be business in what we do and not just what we plan, right? And so that's what we're going to help you with in boot camp. I love that, though. Man, your goals are all business and your actions are all hobby. Man, that's powerful. You guys could create affirmations out of that for yourselves. Okay. I also, one of the things that on number 4 and 5, just real quick on this, you don't really believe in your product was one of his things that's not going to work. Grant Cardone in his book Sell or Be Sold, and some of you guys like Grant. I like Grant, but he's a little over the top. He can be a little much sometimes, so we can paraphrase it for you. But one of the things he talked about is you have to believe in your product so much that you honestly believe you are letting people down when they don't get it. Right? How many of you guys feel that way? Like, oh man, like I'm sorry I failed you and you weren't interested in this. Like that's how much you need to believe in your product, right? So that's an important piece of it. But he talked about also believing in yourself enough, not believing in yourself enough. And I wrote down the words, I am worthy. I know that's kind of what he said, right? I am worthy. But Mike had said something before on a previous call, and I hope I'm not stealing your thunder, Mike, from the next
No,
teach
you're
you
good.
do.
You're good.
But one of the things he told me that he said, and it just blew my mind, was not only am I worthy, but my customers are worthy of what I have to offer. My customers are worthy of how I can help them. My customers are worthy of this product. I think that's another piece of it, is understanding that you're worthy of this and the success that you want and that the goals that you've set, that you're worthy of it, but also the people you're talking to are worthy. Does that make sense? Because we get so caught up in the cycle of like, who's going to be interested, who's not going to be interested, and we forget, like I talked about at the very beginning of tonight's call, where our heart is, right? Okay, so really good stuff, Mike. The other thing I love is reduce the impact fear has on you, because you can't get rid of fear. There's no getting rid of fear, right? Fear is with us. So reduce the impact, being able to still move forward even though we're afraid. I know because of the time of tonight's call, we lost all of our UK people. Obviously, it's like 3 a.m. Sorry, guys. I know you're watching this on replay tomorrow. And it's the middle of the day tomorrow in Australia and New Zealand. So we lost most of those guys too. But one of the people that are in this boot camp that I'm excited is back is Jo Mould from Australia, and she's not on the call tonight. But she actually was paraphrasing me and said, well, Eric told me that you got to be fearless about sharing your business, because that's the only way we get paid, people. She like paraphrased me. So I think the thing is, and that's what we're going to be working on next week specifically, guys, is how to fearlessly share in a way that is sharing your heart and not just vomiting your business on people. Does that make sense? But at the same time, I don't want you guys so worried about coming across the wrong way that you never do share, right? Your light is supposed to be up on a table, not under a basket. So that's what we want you guys to do. We want you to get to that place where you can be relational, you can be focused on service, on loving on people, but at the same time being a professional and not being afraid to share the blessing that you have with others. Make sense? We're going to have a good boot camp. I can tell you right now, it's going to be fun.
Yep.
Now let's do this. Why don't you guys, I know you guys have questions. We like to just do it Wild West style. You have the ability to unmute your own microphones. So if you have questions, go for it, unmute, go ahead, and Mike and I will do our best to answer them.
We do have Australians on the call. All right. Welcome.
Oh, we do have a couple. All right, cool.
Who's first? Batter up.
Okay, so if no one else is going to go, I'm going to go. I have one question that just comes to mind right off the bat. This hasn't happened recently, but it happened several months ago, and it's awkward reconnecting with this person.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you wait to contact someone if when you contact them, they're like in the midst of a funeral and all that, and they're busy. Because I don't want to reach back out and be rude, you know?
Usually, and I'm speak autobiographically, usually it's us who's uncomfortable, not them. Does that make sense, Jessica? So it's not really uncomfortable for them for you to reach out. It's more like you're feeling uncomfortable reaching out because it's awkward for you because they're going through something. At least I'll speak for me. Like, I don't know you, that we don't know each other yet. For me, in that specific instance, when somebody loses a loved one, it's very difficult for me because I never know what to say. Right? And I feel like at a loss. And sometimes that will force me to kind of avoid them for a while. And I don't think that's the correct thing to do. I think people need to hear from you. They need to know that you're there. And for you to reach out and just say, hey, you know, I was just checking in. How's everything going? How are you? Send me an update. You know, I think it means the world to people. So what I want to encourage you, Jessica, is just reach out to them anyway and check back in with them. If you're talking to them, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to the funeral this week. Great. Then, you know, next time they come up in teams, you just go for it. Don't delay them anymore, but check with them. But, you know, it's a good time to send a card. You can go the next level with people and just let them know you care. And I just think it goes a long ways. You know, like I always have a really hard time with knowing the right words, but I usually just try to be honest with people and let them know, like, you know, let them know, hey, you know what, my family and I, we're going to pray for you and your family. We're going to be here for you. And it's not about like, you know, are you interested in right now in my business? No, it's just being a human being and being present for them. Does that make sense? And so this is the thing I want you guys to understand about this system is I reached out to my friend who lost a loved one and offered my condolences, and my support is working on your business. That is working on your business. Even though you didn't do anything business related, you invested in a relationship. And the relationships are the foundation of the business. 90% of what you're going to be doing is just relationship building trust. Does it make sense? So let me just give you an example. Let's say that my job was repairing household appliances, and I've been doing it forever, and I'm really good at it. And then Jessica and I get to know each other, and we become friends. And over time, we gain each other's trust. Who do you think she's going to call if anything goes wrong with her appliances? She's going to call me. Do we talk about appliances every time we connect? No, but she knows that that's what I do. That's the problem I solve, and that I'm really good at it. What's going to happen if any single person in her entire sphere of influence has something go wrong with their appliances? She's going to send them to me. Why? Because she trusts me, because we have a relationship. I want you guys, it's just a fundamental piece of this business, you guys. And next week, one of the questions I'll ask you in training is, what is the problem you expertly solve? So people know this is the problem I solve, but in the meantime, we're just human beings relating to each other. Does that help, Jessica? Okay. So that's an easy one. If somebody tells you, you know, if somebody gets mad at you or something, that's a different situation. We'll talk about that as that comes up, but that won't happen that often. Okay. Who else has
mine's more technical, and it probably has to do with my chemo brain. So when I'm on Team Z and I'm going through my power hour, honestly, I can't remember like from 1 week to the next if I've shared the products with someone and created a follow-up. And if I go back to my activity, I can't just like decipher whether it was just like a log of a Facebook message or a text, or is there a way to see that that was an actual share?
Yes.
Can you show that to me? Because it's confusing.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me show you really quick. I'm glad you're asking this.
Silly question. I don't know, but it's like blowing my mind right now.
Okay. So look, here's you guys, can you see my Team Z dashboard?
Yes.
Okay. So I've got Jay right here, and let's say I'm going to log a Facebook message with her, right? Mm-hmm. Or let's say, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's say it was a 3-way call, right? And I've got my notes from my call on here. And then see right here on the bottom left where it says share. Shoni, if it's a share, then you click on this.
Right. And I've done that. But so say I did that a week ago, but I'm like, it comes back up that I'm talking to her about the product or business again. And I go back in to share it, but I look at the activity and I can't tell if I've shared it, like logged that share before.
Okay. So if you log the share, this is a Beachbody version. That's why it's challenge group. But okay, so look, let's say I got business opportunity share and I log the shares. It's activated now. Follow up in 2 days.
Right.
Okay. Let's say I set the follow up for any day. I'll set it for tomorrow. And when I log that share, she's actually not on my prospects list anymore. She's on my follow-ups list. So now she's on the follow-ups list. So when I do my power hour, I'm connecting with prospects, I'm connecting with customers, I'm connecting with my team, and then I'm going to go see what follow-ups I have due. When I have a follow-up due with Jay, I'm going to send her a follow-up message. And then I'm going to, before I log it, I'll set a new follow-up to keep her on my follow-ups list. So we set a new follow-up. So once you've shared, you want them on your follow-ups list and keep them on the follow-ups list.
Right. But this was somebody that reached back out to me and they weren't either on my follow-ups list, and I went to my activity. So if you go back to your activity there.
So if they reach back out to you and you want to log it in Teamsy?
Yes, but can you see whether it like you've shown it as a share there, or does it just show activity? That's what I'm asking.
This on the activity feed, it doesn't show a share.
Okay.
It shows a share though on your activity report on the business page.
Gotcha.
So if you go to the business page, you can filter this by shares. And then it will show you all the people you've shared with.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's what you're looking for, right?
Yes.
I think, okay.
Because I don't want to double up shares if I've done it within a week. You know what does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
so,
my
but
brain is not helping me with that.
So the biggest thing I want you to keep in mind is your goal as far as keeping it organized in Teamsy is once you've done a share, you want to get them on that follow-ups list. Mm-hmm. And every time you log something in Teamsy with them, make sure you set a new follow-up, unless they've closed, unless they've joined the team or bought. But if you're still just in the follow-up cycle, like they reach back out and tell you, you know, I'm busy or whatever, and you're logging it, make sure you set the new follow-up so they stay on the follow-ups list. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you want to keep, some people might be on that follow-ups list for a year, you guys. This is how Teamsy works. Some people will close in a week. Some people might be on there for a year and you're just following up. But it's different when somebody says, yeah, I'm interested, but they don't actually make the purchase. It's different than saying hello to somebody who hasn't.
So I have a girl right now that she said she was interested, was about to buy, but then of course had to have the budget meeting with her husband. Uh-huh. And then it was like, oh, we got to hold off for right now. So should I put her back in Teamsy or continue a follow-up?
I would just set a follow-up out a little ways, maybe 30 days.
Perfect. And y'all, it is working. I had 3 orders within the last 3 weeks.
That's awesome. Cool.
I'm excited. Thank you, guys.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
So I have a technical question also. On the Teamsy dashboard page where it says prospects and customers and follow-ups, I think. I had my Teamsy set up before the bootcamp started.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was just maybe something that I did wrong when I set it up, but when I click under my customers, nothing is there.
Okay.
But whenever I go under the other side of it where you can actually click, like manually click through it, it does show all of my customers that way because I have selected them as customers. But how do I get them to show under the other, like the actual dashboard?
Okay. So what's happened, Heather, is that you have connected with everyone on your customer list already. And so they won't come back on the dashboard until the period of time on their star rating expires. So your 5-star people will wait 30 days before they come back. Your 4-star people come back after 60 days. Your 3-star people come back after 90 days. So let's say you have 50 customers and you can, this is going to be a lot of you guys in bootcamp. And by the end of the first week, you've connected with everyone on your customer list in bootcamp, right? Because you're doing it every day, and suddenly your customer list is empty. And that's because of the star ratings. Okay, because we don't want you just to connect with them every 3 days because you don't have a big list yet. So you can get them to come back quicker, Heather, by rating them higher, like 5 stars. They'll come back every month, or just wait for them to come back. But if you need to connect with them, they are in Teamsy as you found. If you go to the team page and click on customers, the full list is there, right? They're just not coming up into your power hour because you've already connected with them based on whatever the frequency that is set for that relationship.
Okay, that makes sense. Because it was saying I need to build more customers. So that's why I was wondering, why is it saying that? But okay, so then the other thing is when I'm doing my power hour, if I've already connected with all of my customers per se, somebody was mentioning that you can kind of like take the number that was supposed to be for your follow-up with customers and add it to your prospects. How do you do that?
Yeah, let me show you how to do it. That's good because this is relevant to a lot of people in the group. Okay, I've switched versions of Teamsy just for you, Heather, to match you. Okay, this is the version you're used to seeing. Okay, so look right here on the dashboard. Now I don't think you'll see this link on your phone. So if you're on your computer though, you can go to Edit Daily Goals right here. Okay. And click that, and that takes you right back into this part of the setup wizard. Now, if you're on your phone, you can get here by going to settings. Okay, guys, I know some of you never get on a computer. So you've got your income goal. You don't actually have to change the income goal. Just click continue, and then it brings you to this page where you can edit this. So let's say you're down to, maybe you've connected with all your customers. You just want to make this a 0 for now. So in my case, it was 6, so I can add it up here and just do 15. Does that make sense? Same thing if you've got no team members left to connect. Some of you guys don't have teams or customers yet. It's fine. Make these 0s and then put the total number, mine was 19, up on prospects for now. And when you save that, when you go to your dashboard, you'll see now the goals are changed. I've got 19 on prospects and 0 in these areas.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Eric, do you want us to change that stuff? Because I don't necessarily care if my little screen says 100 because I just know that I've connected with them. Do you want us changing that, or is it okay if we just don't have our 100?
It's fine. However you're wired is fine with me.
Okay, I'm just going to leave mine.
Yeah, totally fine. However, the thing is that you may want to increase your prospect number a bit. Just a few a day to kind of make up for that, to kind of create some of that momentum. I'll just tell you guys a story. Okay, so I'm going to tell you my story, and I know I've got a couple. I see Angela right here in my corner. I've got a couple of Beachbody coaches on here. So my background, I was a Beachbody coach. I'm not anymore, mostly because they wouldn't let me do Teamsy and be a Beachbody coach. So, but when I first started, I was just kind of throwing up things on Facebook, and people were chiming in, buying. And it was kind of easy at first, and then I realized I needed to get more organized. So I really wanted Teamsy bad for me. And so when I got this team of guys together that were going to build it, I was so excited to try it out. So I got the very first version. It was November of 2015. I got the very first version of Teamsy. Only I had it. I'm the only person in the world who had it. I got my Facebook friends list imported into it, and I thought this is the coolest thing in the world. And I did a power hour, and I sent that connect number 1. We didn't have scripts back then, but I knew them. That version, just, hey, how are you? Hope you're having an awesome day. That one. I sent that to I just started messaging people. My goal was like 12, and I sent it to 43 people. And I was like, this is cool. And then, my kids came and tackled me or whatever. I went on with my day. Well, the response rate was like 100%. I didn't know whether I was coming or going for several days. I was messaging 24/7 with people. They were so excited to hear from me. You know what I mean? They were so excited to hear from me personally and just saying hi. So I was messaging, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it was crazy. And that's when I realized we were onto something that particular month. And I was a nobody in the Beachbody. Nobody knew who I was. I wasn't a big deal or anything, but I did get a handwritten card from the CEO of Beachbody that month because I signed up 23 people. And I got a little handwritten card and a $100 bill. I guess sent $100 bill to top whatever people. But that was pretty cool, right? And I was like, wow, this is amazing. That's the other thing that I realized was, that's too much. I couldn't live like that. So that's why, Mike talks about consistency. Doing a few each day is awesome. You can maintain it. You can serve people properly. People aren't going to fall through the cracks, and you can build momentum that way. Does that make sense? So I want to encourage you guys. There's a lot of power to this. The power is not in Teamsy as much as just allowing Teamsy to unleash what's in you and help people systematically, if that makes sense. All right, who's got another question?
Hi, guys. I had a quick question. It might be for Mike, but from when he was doing his piece before, and he was talking about the 5 things in the field of, you feel the fear and do it anyway. And that's one of the books I've got to read of my 3. But I also have people in my team that do the same thing. And I just thought, it's such a loaded question, and I know it's a really big, it's not probably going to be a short answer, but since he so cleverly, concisely put in those five things, it just really hit it on the head. What are your top tips or strategies around like getting into action? Because I've got some people in my team that do that they're like, it's almost, it can be paralyzing with the fear, and rather than just going, well, don't let it stop you, well, how, like what are your, in your experience and coaching people, of what your top tips are to, you know, push through and get, and like what, not, rather than just going, oh, just do it. Well, how do people just do it? You know what I mean?
Yep. Great question. So a simple quote is action conquers fear. Okay. So taking action, doing something, right? And you just said like, well, do what? So I'm going to, in our system, I'm going to touch on one of the things that I've seen conversation about this in the group recently, a couple of threads about this. Some of you haven't taken the time to rank, which means you're reaching out to the coldest people, because that's who comes up first. And that's going to stop you from reaching out. Because this person, I went to high school with this person 30 years ago. You know, what am I going to say? Right? So the simplest thing is, the reason why we have you rank, and even if you don't go through everything, what you need to identify is your 4 and 5-star relationships, your warmest people, because that's people you know best, right? Those are the people you're least afraid of reaching out to. So if you haven't taken the time to rank, at least identify the 4 and 5 stars. Super simple to do. Don't overthink it. You go into rank mode in your team view, and you just look for who if I reached out today I wouldn't be afraid to reach out just to say hi to, who would that be? That's really, you could look at the criteria that we have for what a 4 and 5 star is, but to answer your question, some of your team is not reaching out because they're not reaching out to warm people, right? This isn't magic in the sense that we created 4 and 5 stars, but they're the most likely, they're the most likely for you to feel comfortable reaching out to. And B, they're the most likely to have an engaging conversation where you can actually lead to a share. So there's no magic in that, but that simple thing, from a mindset standpoint, some of them aren't reaching out because they're looking at people that are not warm. And those people you have to get to. And then I've seen posts in the group about, well, people aren't responding, or they just say thanks, or that's okay. They responded, you know, connect with them in 90 days when they come back up. That's no problem. I mean, some people are going to take time to warm up. Some will never warm up. That's okay. That's not on you. But we're focused on the people who aren't responding, or the people that we're afraid to connect with, versus focused on the people who actually fill us up and we can fill them up, and that we feel good about and we have a good feeling about. So if it happens every time when we have this conversation where somebody go, I just do them as they come up. But my gosh, if you have 2,000 people, and 100 of those people would love to hear from you in the next 5 days, why wait 5 months to get to them? Right? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah, it does. Makes a lot of sense.
So
that's exactly what I did. I started to rank, and then I just wanted to get stuck into it. So I stopped ranking, and that's probably part of it.
And don't even, they're all ranked at 3 automatically. So they're all going to come up maybe 90 days no matter what. So don't worry about 1s and 2s. You can make those adjustments. But 4s and 5s, you want to know. You want to know, you want to find them. So the simple thing of action conquers fear is taking action with the right people is going to make all the difference in the world. So from our system standpoint, other practical things is, and I said it before, is you know, you've heard the cliche or the phrase, leaders are readers, right? So whether they're reading books or whether they're listening to books or whatever, you know, getting your team and getting your group, whoever wants to raise their hand, that you're never going to get everybody. It's like, who raises their hand? Hey, let's do a book together. And then talk about insights, because like I said, the biggest changes we're going to have, and the biggest changes you'll have in these 12 weeks isn't just in your business fundamentally working our system. It's how you believe, what you believe is possible, what you believe about yourself, what you believe is potential. The other simple thing, actually, and this is why we have success partners in bootcamp. So even if they're not in bootcamp, they can still be success partners. Again, find the 20% in your team right now who are stepped up or ready to go, who are ready to not have a hobby and have a business, have a business and not treat it like have a business and not a hobby, is that. So either a book type thing, or, hey, we're going to have accountability partners, because not showing up is a bigger fear of being embarrassed of not showing up and not doing your homework, so to speak, than of being afraid of reaching out. So accountability is a big deal. Success, not have it be a negative thing, but have that kind of a challenge in that environment. So when a team dynamic and community dynamic, that's why it's so powerful if you utilize that. So we have, by the way, every week there's a leadership tip that we have in there that again, you're not going to go show bootcamp videos to your team, but there are things we tell you to do with your team to either engage with them or help them be more focused and more engaged in what's happening and that you can teach. Because there's another, you know how you master something? There's a book that it used to be on our list. I don't know if we still have it on there, called Mastery. George Leonard, great book, but not a smooth read. I'll give you the Cliff Notes. Okay, here's how you master something. You learn, you do, and you teach. Okay, that's how you master something. So even though you're a master in the business that you've created thus far, how do you master beyond that? You're going to learn our system, you're going to do it, and then you're going to teach it. And that's, again, the power of duplication as well. But so challenge your team, have them take action, and make it easy for them to take action in the sense that they need to connect with the right people. They need to start putting good stuff in their head and thinking from a positive perspective. And then if you can find a way to build some accountability, some community, some connectivity beyond what you have now, maybe you have a great dynamic. Just put some focus on that over the next 12 weeks because you're focused. Does that make sense? Is that helpful?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thank you so much, Mike. That's fantastic.
And you're right. I could talk for hours on other things to come, but as far as fundamentally specific things that go in line with Teamzy and the system that work, those are the best things I can give you in the moment. So
have a message to their mom first.
Yeah.
Pick 4 people that they know will be happy to hear from them. That's all. Just builds the confidence. So like Mike said, we got to start with the right people. The story I told you about the 43 people I reached out to, those were the 43 people on my list who trusted me the most. They all would hand their baby to me and walk away for an hour, all 43 of them. So, right. So it's not like, wow, that was amazing. He messaged random people. No, they were right. So you start with the best people. It builds your confidence. Let's see. We got time for another one. Donna, I see your hands up. You're so polite. Go for it.
I feel like, everybody that's coming up in my feed are people that I have no idea who they are. So I've been looking them up on Facebook and just going to their page and seeing who my mutual friends are in common. And I really, as long as they don't have any connection to my company or somebody else in my company, I've been sending the script to them.
Yeah.
But I feel like, if I'm talking to like men, I feel like I hope they don't think I'm like coming on to them or something. I feel weird.
Yeah.
Like just messaging like some random guy who I don't know, messages.
Yeah, and men are weird. Men are weird about that stuff. So I get it. This question comes up in every boot camp, so it's a good question. Okay, so the first thing, Donna, is going back to what Mike just said. Have you ranked? And are you in this situation because you've gone through all the warm people?
I'm learning that right now, that I need to go and rank everybody because I'm just getting cold people.
So so that's the first thing we want to do is rank so that you're talking to the right people first. But you will get to a point where these people come up again. So I usually do a post on this at some point in boot camp, but let's talk about it for a second right now because it looks like primarily women. And also men can give the wrong impression sometimes too, though women don't usually jump there as quickly as men do. I don't know what's wrong with us. Okay, so a couple things. For me, my perspective, I'm a married man, happily married, and I didn't want anyone to get the wrong impression. Nor did I want to ever give my wife the wrong impression as I'm on Facebook and messaging people and stuff, So I was really careful about it. It is going to be hard as you're coming across people that you don't know, but in many cases, what I would do is, there's a couple of things you can do to make it clear that you're being friendly but not friendly, right? If you see that they're married, comment on their beautiful family and their beautiful spouse. Compliment them on their family. If there's somebody ask them about their spouse in your message. How are you and Lisa doing? How's everything going with you? So you can compliment them. One thing that I often did was I would, and I still do this, is I group chat husband and wife together. Right? Instead of connecting with just one or the other, I group chat them both. Like, how's everything going? How are you guys doing? Type of thing. A lot of times only one of them will engage, but I group chat them so that it's not like I'm secretly having a conversation with somebody's spouse or something. Does this make sense? So it's just being aware of some of these things that you can do. The other thing that you can do is when you say, let's say you just use the script. How are you? Send me an update. Hope everything's great. And they respond with, we're doing great. How are you? And then you can talk about what's going on with you and your family and your spouse. We're doing this, we're doing that. It's great. Now, some of you are single and you're talking to single people and there's going to be a gray area and you're just going to have to do the best you can, right? So what I will tell you is if you're in that situation and someone jumps to the wrong conclusion, just quickly clear it up. Just say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you the wrong idea. I was just reaching out and connecting. I'm on a mission to have a real relationship with everybody I'm connected with on social media and just thought I'd say hi. So does that make sense? So you can just quickly clarify that if that comes out. And if somebody gets creepy, just delete them. But the other thing I want you guys to know is, Joan's laughing because it's happened, I think, probably, right? So the other thing I want you to do now is be pickier about who you friend. Okay? So people laugh about this, but I will unfriend people because they're not picky about who they friend. So what happens is I start getting like a friend request every day from the Philippines or from some random place that's got a mutual friendship with this person. Well, I'm like, I got to unfriend you now, right? Because you're not picky. You're just receiving anybody. So, just look for when somebody sends you a friend request. I know you want to build up that list, right? Because you're building your business. But when you get a friend request from somebody, just take a look at a couple of things. First, make sure it's a real person. And one of the ways you can tell if it's a real person is that the Facebook profile is at least 5 years old, right? Don't let anybody friend you whose Facebook profile is less than a year old. Okay. Make sure that they don't have friends from all over the random third world in their friends list, right? And just take a quick look at their profile and make sure that they are congruent, that they seem at least congruent with the kind of person you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I would do, and then you're not going to be in such a weird place. But as you're talking to people on social media, you're meeting people that you don't know, what we're hoping to teach you in this bootcamp is how to build trust with people. But you also have to have discernment and know after, you're going to try to help everybody, but there's going to be people that you're just going to need to unfriend and move on from too. Does that help? Yes. So I looked at it like this, I was in the health and wellness business. A lot of you are too. I know we've got everything in here, but I felt like I could help everybody, and I wanted to give everybody a chance, but at the same time, I don't want you guys going down rabbit holes with random people that you're not going to get anywhere with at the same time. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So Karina asked a question in the chat. If we aren't Facebook friends with them and thus our message goes into the other folder, would you recommend doing text instead of Facebook Messenger?
Text message is great too. If you have their phone number, text them. Now, if I was going to send a friend message, if I was going to send a message to you and we're not friends, I would send a friend request along with it. Generally. And so they'll see the friend request that comes up on a notification, even if they never see your message. So I would do that. But yeah, if you have their cell phone number and you're not Facebook friends, text them. That's an easy one. Definitely. Text is almost as good as Facebook Messenger has an extra benefit in it, because Facebook is entertaining for most people. So their response rate's a little better because it's on an entertainment platform, and they can go look through the windows of your house and peek into your life, right? And so, and we want them to peek into our windows, don't we? Because our windows show them the fabulous life we're building through our business opportunity. So that's like the benefit of Facebook Messenger, is that the response rate's a little bit higher, and a lot of times before they respond, they're going to go click on your profile and see what you're up to. But text message works great too. And if you've already got their cell phone number, there's a level of trust there, and I would just do that.
Can you look at Megan's question?
If someone is due a follow-up is this that one? If someone's due a follow-up, when you go to follow up, they haven't read your last message, how do you push your follow-up back up? No, Megan. They're never going to read your last message. At least it looks that way. Okay.
Yeah.
So
sorry, I don't know how to say it right.
Okay. Look, this is the week 3 training. You're going to get a little preview of it right now. Here's what happens. I'm talking to you about business. You're super excited. We're having this great talk, and you're like, great, I need to go talk to my spouse, or I need to think about it. No worries. I'll follow up with you and see if you have questions tomorrow. You say, great, perfect. I'm all excited. I get on the team call. They're like, how about that new lead, Megan? Oh, she's in for sure. And then I message you tomorrow. No response. And I look at my phone. It says unread. Dang it. So a couple days pass. I message you again. No response. I look at the thing. It says unread. But here's what I want you to know. I know you're reading it, because I'm following the Teamsy training, which means I'm sending it to you short and sweet so you can read the whole thing without opening it. And what's happening is, when the message comes, you've got the dog throwing up on the baby, so you can't respond right now, but you still look at it and see it, right? And you intend to respond, but you're busy. The reason why you didn't open it is because you'd look like a big jerk if you opened it and didn't respond. So you're not going to open it. Do you guys ever do this? You save messages till later when you can really look at it, right? So then I message you a couple of days later, you're driving the car. You're not going to text and drive, right? That would be irresponsible. So you'll put it off till later. So what happens is, what I see on my end is unopened messages and no response, nothing but crickets. And then I start to make up stories about why you're not responding. But here's what I want you guys to know. Statistically, 80% of people are not going to even open or respond to your first 6 or 7 follow-up messages. But they're getting them. And when they see them, they're thinking of you. They're like, oh yeah, I need to connect. I do need to respond, right? But you're just not the top priority right now. So so to answer your question, Megan, when they come up on the follow-up list again, you send them the next follow-up message. Don't worry if they've opened it or responded. And if they, and then just send the message and then set a new follow-up. Maybe, if you followed up 2 days, now maybe it's 5 days to the next follow-up. It's okay. Set the next follow-up though. When they come up again, send them another. So what I would do is, every time I followed up, I would just add a few more days to my follow-up time. So it was like, I followed up the next day, then 2 days later, then, a few days later than that, then a few days later. I just kept setting it so they didn't fall off the face of the earth. What will happen as you do this is, 6 or 7 follow-ups in, you'll get a response that's like this. Oh my gosh, Megan, I'm so sorry I haven't responded to you. And they'll tell you what happened. First, the dog threw up on the baby. Then I was driving. And then they kind of like unpack what's been going on in their life. It's been so busy at work, whatever. We all had the flu, the whole family. This, right? Does this sound familiar, guys? And they'll say, I'm so sorry. Thank you for following up. And guess what? You're back to the beginning of the conversation. You're starting over. But you would have lost that person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the answer is, just keep sending the messages and understand that that's the psychology that's happening in the background. And also, if you use the scripts that are in Teamsy, the follow-up scripts, I don't know if you've seen those, you guys, there's 10 scripts numbered in order. Those all follow a philosophy that makes them not be annoying. Okay. And again, we'll go deeper into that on how to do that without being annoying in week 3. But for now, you guys can just use those scripts. They're really friendly and they're not annoying, and people generally feel good about them when they see them, if that makes sense. Keeps you top of mind.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Let's do one more. Last one. Make it a good one.
Heather asked, how do you know how long to set a follow-up?
You just go with your gut. You get better at it over time. You just get better at it over time. I just think of it like this. How often would I want to be followed up with? right? And honestly, guys, and some of you have heard me say that following up is an act of love. This is how we serve people. We follow up, and by when we tell people we're going to help them and we give up, we kind of communicate the wrong thing. We communicate that we don't care. Think about a time, and every one of you can think about a time when somebody stopped following up with you and you felt like it meant they didn't care, right? So when we continue to follow up, it shows our care. Actually, look, some of you guys have been doing this a while. Raise your hands if somebody was impressed by your follow-up, and actually that was what made them want to join your team, right? So what happens is over time, you impress people with the follow-up. They're impressed by your care and your professionalism. They want to be on your team, and you've already trained them how to do what they need to do most, which is follow up, which is pretty cool, right? So, so how do you do it? Like I said, I'm not the end all be all on this, but as long as they're on your follow-ups list, you're not going to fall through the cracks. But I think I look at it like this: 20% of people will close in the first 3 days. So I want to be all over them for 3 days, and then I back off. Then I back it off, and then start putting some time, 2, 3, 4 days, 5 days, maybe a week between follow-ups. But the first 3 days, I'm on it. Following up, because I know that 20% of the people are going to sign up right then, and I don't want to miss that opportunity, and then I'll back it off. Does that make sense? So play with it, Heather. Play with it a little bit, different frequencies, and just kind of, like when you're sending a message, just go, I'll follow up with her next Wednesday, and set it in there and move on. Okay. All right. Well, we went and did it again, Mike. We went way beyond, but let your success partners know that Mike and I actually only taught for 40 minutes. The rest was Q&A, so that we can lure them in like you, and they'll just keep watching and get all the goodness out of this. But hopefully this was valuable for you. We're excited that you guys are in boot camp. Remember, we're in the group all the time. You guys can put questions there, of course, and ask them. One little tip I do give you is just search the keywords of what your question is, because it may have already been asked and answered, and you may save a little time and energy there as you get into the group. But we appreciate you guys. We're glad that you're here. We're grateful that you have invested to be here with us. And we will promise to invest everything that we have back into you for the next 12 weeks. So have a great night, all. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you all so much. Love you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.